Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. As Thiago Pinto is rumoured to potentially leave because of his contract expiring and the Fredkins not being interested in renewing his contract. That's going to be the big topic of today. We're also going to mention Cristante, Spurs 30 million offer to try and get him away from us. And it kind of does link in with this clear out. I don't know if the Fredkins are intending a clear out, a complete revolution. That's something that we don't know as fans and that we will never know until we will see it happen. But it is definitely fair to say that the Fredkins want change. And this change that they want can be seen with their doubts on extending Pinto's contract and ultimately also their doubts on extending Mourinho's contracts because they don't know what they are going to do. It looks like both Pinto and Mourinho are not going to extend. And I get the impression that there could be a clear out at the end of this season. I may be wrong. It does depend on a lot of things. If we get Champions League, then having a clear out would be pointless. But if we don't get Champions League football after yet another season, then a clear out, a team clear out, player clear out, general director clear out can be the tangible path if that's what they want to do. If starting a new project is their biggest ambition. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But yeah, if you haven't already, smash a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. Right, I put a poll on, so I want to see and I want to know what you guys think on this. Are you Pinto in or Pinto out? Do we extend Pinto's contract or do we find a new general director? And I think that ultimately the way to judge this is, has he been successful? And yes, he has been our general director under a lot of sanctions, and transfer windows were not easy whatsoever. So what he managed to do under some circumstances is should be praised to some extent. But ultimately, and I've used the word ultimately so much in these past 2 minutes, I don't think he's good enough. In a sense that I don't think he's backed with a good scouting department. And on that sense, on the general director front, who needs to get new players, who needs to be the first one who should, start new projects and stuff with the players you want to buy, you need somebody who's good at that. And look, Pinto got the likes of Lukaku, the likes of Dybala, and all of that. But the majority of the players that Pinto got were not good players. And there's a pattern of players that we can name that Pinto bought but weren't good enough. And in some cases, we actually spent a lot of money on them. You look at Pinto's first season was probably the most successful because it was the one where we were able to spend more money. We got Abraham. But again, we got Viña, 14 million for Viña. We got scammed. Shomurodov, 18 million for Shomurodov. We got scammed. That shows to me that you're not good. You're not good at choosing players because they were terrible players. And you were not good at negotiating with other teams. Because if you spend 40 million to sign a left back who came and played in the Brazilian league and paid 14 million for it, you're not good. Shomurodov, how can you possibly spend 18 million euros on a player like Shomurodov? Those are clear evidences that he's not good at negotiating. He's not good at manipulating deals, making the most of these deals. And it's not just that. It's not just the players that he bought spending money. You look at the players he bought on loan. Renato Sanchez. Okay, he could be a good player, but how many games can he guarantee you in a season? And that's massive consideration. Wijnaldum, same discussion. We were very unlucky with Wijnaldum because he got injured very, very soon. in fact, during preseason, I believe. And he kind of missed the entire season and played the last few months. But again, did Wijnaldum care? Did Wijnaldum care? No, he didn't. And again, that's not Pinto's fault. If a player doesn't care, it's not the general director's fault. You buy him, then it's up to the player to decide whether he wants to care and play for this team or not. But these are all things that we should consider and have to be considered before presenting the offer, paying a player. Um, this summer window is another massive example. Christensen, where did he come from? Renato, we already talked about. Awar, I've been disappointed. I've been extremely disappointed. Maybe because I had expectations, but I've been disappointed. So we need somebody who knows what he's doing. We need somebody who gets here and knows how to get players who are good players and not ultimately not waste money on them. So my answer to do I keep Pinto, do I not keep Pinto, is I don't keep Pinto because clearly it's not working out. Because if for the past 3 seasons that we've been under Thiago Pinto buying players, we have never really improved and always get Europa League football, then it does mean that the players we have in our team and the transfer window we held weren't successful enough. And that comes down to the general director. So we need somebody who's not only good at, catching talents and all of that, but I've mentioned this before, we need somebody who has and is backed by a very interesting scouting department. That, in my opinion, is even more important than the general director itself. Because the general director is the one who calls, the one who presents the money. But Thiago Pinto is not the one to take planes around the world and go to South America and watch young talents play football, or go to Asia, or go to Africa, or go to Norway, Sweden, Finland to watch young players like Napoli did with Kvaratskhelia. So he's not the one who's there to do that. It's the scouts which have to do that. And then they refer back to Pinto, who presents the money, asks the Fredkins for permission, calls agents and all of that. So the first thing which has to improve is scouting. That's the first layer of things. Again, I a few years ago, in fact, before that Europa League final, I was very anti-change. I was like, no, I hate changes. Changes just bring massive turmoil to a team. But now, I don't know what it is, but after that Europa League final that we lost, and I was there, sat in that stadium, watching Montiel score that penalty, something changed in me. And something is like, the only thing I care about is Roma. The only thing I care about is this team being successful. I don't care who comes and goes. Yes, obviously I want good players to come in, and maybe I have some priorities in some decisions, but I'm not the same person I was last year or 2 years ago when I would actually turn against these changes, changing general director. And that's not what a fan should worry about. A fan should worry about seeing the team succeed. And that Europa League final that we lost and going there in Budapest, sitting in that stadium, really has changed something in me. I don't care who our next general director is. I don't care if the Fredkins sell or not. I don't care if Dybala leaves in the summer, because that's secondary to the team succeeding. And that's how it should be. That's how everybody here should live this game and this team and this passion. Obviously, I have decisions which I would rather be made, but it's not what I flex on. If you see what I mean, it's not what I care. I want this team to succeed, and maybe there needs to be a switch in the recruitment of players, because it clearly hasn't been successful for the past three years. if we do want to rebuild the team and have a massive clear out at the end of the season, in my opinion, I see some players who are currently in this team who need to be, who need to stay and kind of be the foundations of the new project, if we want to call it. If I had to pick some players in this team to build the new project on, I would definitely choose Mancini, Cristante, Pellegrini, Lukaku, Dybala, and Bove. The rest can all go. If the clear out option is the option this team wants to take, then everyone can go, but these players which I mentioned should stay for their foundations. And that leads me on to Cristante. Apparently, Tottenham are very much interested in signing Cristante and have prepared a 30 million offer to sign him. Again, I don't know how this team could, not this team, but I don't know how, under the current sanctions that we are on, I just can't see how we would refuse 30 million from Spurs. Do I think Cristante is worth 30 million? No. Do I think Cristante is worth more than 40 million? No. Cristante's value fluctuates between the 30s and the 40s. Cristante is, probably has been, aside Lukaku, the most fundamental player from the start of this preseason to today. Everybody loves him. He's a staple. He is literally our machine. But asking more than 40 million for Cristante is criminal. And I will say that as a massive Cristante fan. There is no way we can ask more than 40 million. There is no way. And part of that isn't because of, him as a player, which I don't think value is more than 40 million. But it's because the situation we're in. Clubs will never offer more than 30 million knowing that we are in a massive urgency to sell. They just won't. I think we can hire the 30 million offer. I wouldn't sell Cristante. I've said it. I would build a potential future project around Cristante. The midfield of a future project, in my opinion, should be built around Cristante. But how old is Cristante? Cristante is 28. I'm very curious to see what transfer market puts as his value. Transfer market puts Cristante's value. Go on. Oh. It's not loading. Right, it's gonna load in a second. What's his value? Go on, just load. It's not gonna load. I don't care. 28 years old. Yeah. The fact that we've got FFP and all of that, I just don't think we can ask more than 40 million. That's just the way I see it. But we can't say, look, CC21 is saying if we sell him, I can tell top four is out the window. We can't sell him in January. That's guaranteed. Selling Cristante in January would literally mean Mourinho would pack his suitcase and leave the next day. You cannot sell Mourinho's best player in the January window. That's just disrespectful to the manager. The only season and the only period of time where you could consider Cristante leaving is in the summer. If you sell him before, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And and yeah, it shows no ambition whatsoever. So I agree. I wouldn't sell him in general, but you know, the offer comes again. We aren't a massive team. We can't act as wolves and all of that. But yeah, I mean that's very important. I get the impression that there could be a big clear out at the end of this season. I don't know what this clear out will consist on. If it will be players, general director, and manager. You know, a clear out involving majority of your players, your general director, and your manager is a risky one. It would really be a big savage move to do. Um, the most important question mark once again when it comes to this clear out is always the same. The question is not around Thiago Pinto. The question which everybody wants to know, which I want to know, which is the most important one to answer this question, is all around the manager. Because the biggest if at time of speaking for Roma fans if Mourinho will be your manager next season. Everybody's saying no. I still think if we get Champions League football and don't extend him, it would be a little bit of a bitch move. I have to be honest. It really would. If we get top four, I just can't see why Mourinho would leave. And I've said this already, but if top four gets missed out this season too, I genuinely think there is going to be a big clear out at the end of this season. Which, some fans you would say it's going to be a successful one. Some fans you're going to say it's going to be a very risky one. Very premature to answer the question now. But yeah. I'm reading that Roma are interested in Milenkovic, the Fiorentina defender. That guy isn't bad. He's a good defender, developed a lot of Serie A experience. So if we could get a player like Milenkovic, Serbian national from Fiorentina, in the January window, it would be great. Again, I don't think it's one of those signings that could happen in January. It's more of a summer signing, but it would be a great signing overall. Yeah, that's the way I see it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let's see what you guys think on the Thiago Pinto poll, however, because I'm very curious to see what the majority of people say. If you want Pinto out or Pinto in, if you think Pinto's been successful or not. Majority says Pinto out and minority says Pinto in. I would rather have Pellegrini leaving than Cristante, says Giulio. That's a tough one. Again, I could agree on that, but Pellegrini, I know as a matter of fact Pellegrini won't leave. So yeah. Right, let's read some comments, shall we? Pinto is only good at selling. He's got little football knowledge. I can't remember him bringing in unknown young players who became actually good. We need a different sporting director. Yeah, and I think we also need a new philosophy of general directors. Should have got Sabitzer and Frattesi while keeping Matic, says Daci. Renato and Paredes are bad transfers, period, says Daci again. We can't say much on Paredes. He was last minute deal because of Matic. That's his fault for leaving us mid-August without a warning. Don't let Mancini leave, says Cal Frickson. Zalla says, yo bro, Cristante is worth 20 million. Yeah, you see, that's exactly my point. Transfer market values him at 20 million. You cannot, if they give you 40 million, immediately put it in your pocket. That's not necessarily what I do, but if the Fredkins get a 40 million offer for Cristante, trust me, they're gonna get the money and put it in their pocket. You just can't ask more than 30. I'd even argue 30 million is not a big offer, but a reasonable, understandable offer. Again, a lot of questions. I really do wish these questions get answered because it does help with the future of this team. My biggest worry here is the Fredkins don't know what to do because they're gonna sell. That's, in my opinion, the most dangerous thing. Because if you don't do anything, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait, you don't extend, and then Pinto leaves, and Mourinho leaves, and the players leave, and then you sell. That's where the Fredkins really fucked it up. So if they do end up selling, we need to know soon. That's another thing that we gotta know soon, if they want to sell or not. Because if they want to sell, then they should not be participating in the decisions of the future. Because if they want to sell, but at the same time they don't extend Mourinho, but then the new owners that come in want to keep Mourinho, then it just makes a massive confusion. A lot of questions to be answered. And as I just said, I hope that these questions get answered very, very soon. I'm going to catch you tomorrow. I'm going to watch Italy tomorrow, so hopefully I can film a little video. Don't forget to smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments your thoughts and opinions on this potential clear out. It's an option. I definitely think it's an option. So yeah, feel free to let me know what you think down below. Catch you soon. Good night. You're legends, and talk to you very, very soon. See you out.